On, we can hear you.
I am on, and I hear noise, so it sounds like you guys are on. All right, are we all ready then?
Yep, everyone's here. We're ready to go.
All righty, well, good evening, everyone. Sorry I can't be there with you, but I'll be on Zoom with you tonight. So I'd like to call to order the joint meeting of the Cotati City Council and the successor agency to the former Cotati Community Redevelopment Agency for this Tuesday, July 25th, 2023. And with that, Kevin, could I ask for a roll call, please?
Councilmember Rivers,
Here.
Councilmember Lemus,
Here.
Councilmember Ford,
Here.
Mayor Harvey,
Here.
and we'll show Vice Mayor Sparks is absent.
Thank you for that. And then with that, I would like you to all please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Those there can wait till everybody's ready. All right. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Thank you for that. The next item is approval of the minutes and notice of waiving of reading of all resolutions and ordinances introduced and or adopted under this agenda. And we have one item, which is from our regular meeting on June 27th, 2023. Does Sylvia, do you have any changes? I'm going to go one by one since I can't see hands very well. Sylvia, do you have any changes or questions?
No changes or questions. Thank you.
And Ben, do you have any changes or questions?
Nope.
And then that would leave Kay. Do you have any changes or questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Then since this is an action item, I will open this up for public comment, and I will be having Kevin handle that for me.
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. If there's anybody in the audience who would like to make a public comment on approval of the minutes of June 27th, please come forward at this time. Seeing no takers, now speaking to our Zoom attendees. If you would like to make a public comment on approval of the minutes, please use the raise hand icon. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Thank you for doing that for me. And with that, I would be looking for a motion.
Move to approve the minutes.
And
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Kevin, could you please do a roll call vote on that for me?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. Thank you for that. Then the minutes of June 27th pass. The next item is the announcements. First item is meeting orientation for new attendees and viewers in conformance with the Brown Act and the adopted City Council rules. The meeting agenda includes items labeled as action items, where the City Council will consider the item and citizens are afforded the opportunity to provide comments relevant to the item being discussed. The meeting agenda also includes a citizens business item, which is the designated place on the agenda where citizens have the right to say whatever they wish. The City Council may or may not choose to respond to comments as the government code allows. However, if the City Council declines to respond, it should not be perceived as giving credence to or agreeing with any statements the City Council or its members believe are incorrect, misinformed, or purposely biased. Next, Measure S supports police services, a variety of recreation programs for all ages, and the maintenance of our streets, parks, and public buildings. See details on the web at cotaticity.org. Next, citizens interested in receiving City of Cotati community alerts via text or email are encouraged to sign up with Nixle by downloading the Everbridge app from the iOS or Android App Store, or by texting your zip code, which is 94931, to 888777. Next, like always, we love to hear from you. So please feel free to contact the city at 707-792-4600 or info@cotaticity.org. If you have a non-emergency issue after normal business hours, you can contact us at 792-4611. And of course, if you have an emergency, please call 911. Continue to look for updates on the city's website and social media channels available on Facebook, Instagram, and Nexel. So with that, we will move on to the next item, which is approval of the final agenda. Mr. City Manager Damian Obid, are there any changes to the agenda?
Thank you, Mayor. No proposed changes.
Okay, then since this is an action item, we will open this up for public comment. Kevin, would you please handle that for me?
Yes, if anybody in the audience would like to make a public comment on approval of the final agenda, please come forward at this time. No takers here. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you would like to make a public comment on approval of the final agenda, please use the raise hand icon. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, thank you for that. Then we will move on to citizens' business and public comment for the consent calendar items. Any member of the public wishing to speak to the council on any items listed on the consent calendar or any matters not listed on the agenda that are within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council may do so at this time. Pursuant to the Brown Act, the council is not allowed to consider issues or take action on any item not listed on the agenda during this period. Pursuant to City Council Policy 2021-01, comments of any member of the public are normally restricted to a total of 3 minutes in length per person for matters not on the agenda, and a total of 3 minutes per person in length for any and all items on the consent calendar. The mayor may extend the time limit for a reasonable time where disability accommodation has been requested. And to facilitate public comment, the city clerk will alert speakers when there is 30 seconds remaining. So with that, Kevin, can you facilitate the citizens' business and consent comments?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. If anybody in the audience has a citizen's business public comment, please come forward at this time. We do have one speaker, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. My name is Susie Murray. I am a Cotati resident, and I'm here to say thank you. Nice to see Measure S, I guess, dollars hard at work, and our streets are wonderful, but I really wanted to thank you. I'm kind of the Mrs. Kravitz, if any of you remember who she is, of the parks. I've been walking through almost daily and seeing the improvements, and it's amazing. We are grateful. I've talked to so many people in the parks, and I want to give a shout out to your staff, and crews, really, the contractors. They're so helpful and they're so pleasant, and they're always, they look like they're having fun out there, which is great. So I wanted to say thank you, a shout out to them, but I also want to mention the streets. I drive a lot in Sonoma County. I work in the city of Santa Rosa and Petaluma, and I compare our streets to theirs, and we're rocking it. So thank you very much, and a shout out to those crews as well. So that was it. I don't need the whole 3 minutes. I don't need an action. I just want to say thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comments. Yeah, we have invested a lot in both our parks and streets, and as long as we can keep doing that, we're happy to see that folks are noticing that. So thank you for those comments. Kevin, are there any other speakers?
Not here in the audience, so checking with our Zoom attendees, if you would like to make a public comment for citizens' business, please use the raise hand icon at this time. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for those comments. We will now move on. It's always nice to hear good things. And so thank you, staff, and thank you everyone involved in making all these things happen. And hopefully we'll continue to invest in our streets and parks. So with that, we have the consent calendar, and there are 3 items. First one is approved design agreement for the 2024 street improvement project. The second item is the 2023 Cotati Accordion Festival public parking lot use at 960 East Cotati Avenue on August 19th and 20th. The third is amend FTE staffing schedule for fiscal year 2023-24. Is anyone on the council wanting to pull any of those items?
I have a quick question. I think it probably doesn't need to be pulled if I can ask Damien a quick question. Is
Sure.
that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. On the Katati Accordion Festival parking lot, where would people who typically use that park instead? If it's, closed off for the event?
This is the gravel lot in front of the train depot. And it's during the weekend, so there shouldn't be too much conflict because there's also for SMART, there's parking for weekend SMART use. There's parking still in the SMART parking lot, which is where most people park. But in the weekdays when, well, particularly before COVID, in the weekdays when, traffic on SMART was heavier, it would overflow into the gravel lot. And there's still
Okay.
people that park there, but I think there'll be sufficient parking in the SMART parking lot for
Okay,
the
great.
weekend.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Not seeing any, and
No.
we've already, yes?
I was just saying no.
Okay, we've already had public comment on this item, so I would be looking for a motion and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent calendar.
Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Kevin, could you take a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. So those pass. So we will move on to item 9, which is direction on future agenda items. And I'll call out everyone since it's hard to see hands. Sylvia, do you have any?
No, I don't today.
Okay, Ben?
None today.
Okay, and Kay?
No new ones. Thank you.
Great, thank you for that. Then we will move on to the next item, which is public hearings. And the item that we have here is establishing the outstanding backflow testing charges and levying of assessments. And first, I believe we will have a staff report on that.
Yes, Mayor Angela Corder, Director of Administrative Services. I'm going to be reopening the public hearing for the backflow testing charges and the proposal to levy those outstanding charges. There is a total of $3,590 that are proposed for assessment. The average charge on these is approximately $70 per parcel. Those break down into the total cost for each, which are approximately $20 for the actual backflow test, $35 for the admin fee, and a $15 delinquency fee, which comes to that total. Some of them are a little bit different if they have 2 backflows or they paid for the test but didn't pay the penalty fees. Those are what's included in the assessments. As part as the process, the backflow process is that this is a requirement per state code that every backflow is subject to testing within the city to make sure that our city system on our water stays clean and free of infiltration from water from other systems or from outside water sources being pushed back into our system. And so with that requirement, we do a noticing and request that individuals either go and get their own testing or that we will do it on their behalf. If they don't meet that testing requirement or don't meet the deadline for testing, we do send our own tester. We have negotiated some really great rates to be able to do this on citizens' behalf who have these devices. And that $20 is that testing actual cost. With that actual cost, we have our administrative fee. And if they don't pay that in a timely basis, and we get to this point in time, we have the authority to put it on the assessment. This was reopened previously, but due to notifications to the individuals on this possible assessment, we wanted to make sure we brought it back with the proper noticing. And so that's what's being open here today.
Okay, thank you for that. Sylvia, do you have any questions?
Did you call Sylvia?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah,
Right.
my only question was, I know that you continue with some of the noticing. So was it mail, certified mail, posting something on the door? I'm just curious because there was additional kind of posting or noticing about it.
I believe the individual property owners were noticed as a part of the requirements. And then we also did public notice in the community voice is typically where we do that noticing for a public hearing.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Ben, do you have any questions?
I don't.
And Kay, do you have any questions?
Just sort of follow up to Councilmember Lemus's, do you know how the individuals were notified?
So during the billing process, we do send out multiple bills to try and make collections on these accounts. So we do send out a text and email notifications, just like your utility bills. We send out those notifications. So those were sent multiple times before we got to this point in time. And then the community voice notifications were sent out on July 14th and July 21st.
Okay, but the individuals who are on this list were not notified of the public hearing is what I'm asking. Outside of the newspaper, or were they?
Yeah, the noticing for the bills is always, they're always direct mailers to them. So, and, you know, you also email and text,
But
So-
not for the hearings?
not for the hearing.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, then if there are no more questions, then I will open the public hearing. And Kevin, could you facilitate any questions on this item for me, please?
Anybody in the audience who has a, sorry, thank you, Mayor Harvey. Anybody in the audience who has a public comment about this item, please come forward. No takers here. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, thank you for that. Thank you for clarifying the breakdown of the cost. It just seems like this list keeps getting longer and longer, and maybe part of the reason is that we get such a good pricing, I guess, on the testing rather than someone doing it themselves, it sounds like. But thank you for giving the breakdown on the cost. I would really prefer to see this list get shorter, but I know that we're very limited in the fees and penalties that we can assess on this. So with that, are there any, Sylvia, do you have any additional comments?
I do not. Thank you.
Okay, Ben
Nope.
and Kay.
Yeah, just quick clarifying. So the lien on the property is the county tax, correct? The property tax? Okay, thank you.
Okay, if there are no more questions, then I would be looking for a motion on this item.
I'll move to approve a resolution ordering the establishment of outstanding backflow testing charges and penalties from fiscal year 22-23 and directing levying of assessments for 23-24.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Kevin, can you do a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. So that also passes, and the public hearing on that is now closed. And I'm sure Angela will go forth and do her work on this item. We will now move on to the regular agenda. And the first item is issuance of a commercial cannabis permit to Barlow Printing LLC to allow commercial cannabis distribution activities at 481 Aaron Street. And do we have a staff report on that?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey, members of the council. My name is JP Harris. I'm a senior planner with the city of Cotati. And as the mayor said, this is with respect to issuing a commercial cannabis permit to company, well, the local company will be HC Solutions of California. They do business as Humble and Fume. And they will be purchasing, actually, I should clarify that. This company is purchasing Barlow Printing, which is a presently operating cannabis business in this location at 481 Aaron Street. So we'll be issuing a new permit if the council so chooses, be issuing a new permit to this company, HC Solutions, and then expiring the current permit that we have with the current Barlow Printing. And I hope that makes sense. If there's any clarification, please ask. So just for some background, the cannabis business has been running distribution, primarily distribution at the same location since June of 2019. We've had no issues with their operation, no complaints from neighbors or any kind of police activity has been needed there. In January 2021, they created Barlow Printing, which is actually the business that used to be in this building. If you go out there, it says Barlow Printing on the building. It was printing business for a while, quite a while. But they adopted that name. And then in July of 2021, during their renewal, we recognized the name change and made adjustment to their application. So then in September 2022, we received an application from HC Solutions of California that they were interested in purchasing basically the equity of Barlow Printing. And that is the application you have before you today. One of the changes that we've made is previously back in 2019, when we first permitted, I'm just going to say Barlow Printing for lack of, just for clarity. We approved two types of licenses. We approved a manufacturing license and a distribution license. Some of the activities that they did under the umbrella of manufacturing are really cultivation activities, which are processing, like it's called processing. And that's like the drying, the curing, and the trimming of the cannabis flower. That is a special license type that the that the state added after we had adopted our regulations. So we don't have that license type, but we do associate it with, so we allowed it to occur previously, but now we associate those with cultivation. And we want to keep the cultivation activities with the cultivation permits, and manufacturing is be like, if you're producing a product from cannabis. So, so anyway, the processing activities that did occur, we're not allowing to occur anymore. So this will be a straight distribution service. And that means that they'll be accepting kind of tested prepackaged goods from other manufacturers and growers, and then distributing those goods to other retail facilities, either storefront or delivery services. They can also store product for other licensee holders. And I guess with that, it's really fairly straightforward. The resolution on page 55, staff recommends that you approve the resolution granting a commercial cannabis permit to Barlow Printing under this ownership group. And that's all I have to say, and I'm available for questions. I also do want to say that we have representatives from the company here who would like to introduce themselves, and they are also available for any questions or comments that you have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Do they want to make a presentation? Is that what I understand, JP, or?
I think it's not a presentation, but an introduction.
Okay. So there we go.
Sure. My name's Chris Candelario. Thank you, first of all, for your time. I appreciate you having us here. I'm actually the new president of the company, so it's been about 3 months for me. I live in Sonoma County. I've been here for 25 years. I hate talking about myself, so excuse me if I sound a little awkward. But I live with my wife and 2 daughters, and I take a lot of pride in my community. And I want you guys to know that we're going to do our best to be great operators. And I have 20 years of distribution experience, 13 years of liquor and wine prior to cannabis. I've been doing cannabis for 7 years, but happy to answer any questions and really appreciate you guys taking a look at the application.
Hi, and Hi to Mayor Harvey and the council. Thank you all for having us. My name is Alyssa Clemmer. You maybe see my name on some of the emails or the application. I'm the compliance manager for the Humble and Fume group of entities. And I have also worked in Cotati on some other licensed cannabis businesses that you've had. So I'm familiar with your jurisdiction and am very excited to be back in Cotati working with you all. It was great to know that when I took this role, I would be somewhere familiar with rules and regulations that we could work within. So thank you all for having us and considering our application.
Thank you. Thank you for those comments. And I guess if you guys want to hang around in case there are any questions, that would be greatly appreciated. So with that, Sylvia, do you have any questions?
I do.
Okay.
Yes, I want to appreciate JP for explaining. At first, I was a little confused because it seemed like it was already permitted for distribution, but it's a new company. So my understanding then is that some of the activities are being rolled back a little bit, where there was cultivation previously, now it's mainly distribution.
Yes, exactly. The business type will be distribution only.
Okay.
We won't be pursuing the second license type.
Okay, thank you. That's my question.
Ben, do you have any questions?
Yes, thanks. An ownership structure that requires a flow chart in the staff report just makes me wonder. So you said you're president of the company. Are you president of Humble and Fume or Green Acres or HC Solutions or HC Solutions of California or Barlow Printing or Henry's Original?
I am president of the distribution operation, so I'm the person operating the business daily. There are different investor groups that have funded the company, but I guess I am the day-to-day person that runs the business. I do report to investors and our corporate company, which is a public company.
Okay. Okay, thanks. Sure.
And in Chris's defense, he probably hasn't seen that flow chart yet. So forgive me for not sharing it, but that complicated corporate structure is one that we consider more of like a theoretical above us, where we tend to work a little more locally.
Okay, Ben, does that answer your question?
Yep, that's it for me.
Okay, thank you. Kay, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I didn't hear the name. Which company are you the president of?
Humble and Fume Distribution.
Okay, great. So yeah, my one question was, and maybe this is more for John. There's no issues with all the funding coming from Canada with, federal cannabis distribution?
Not to my knowledge. I'm sure the state permitters would have, or licensors would have pointed that out to us if it were an issue under state law.
Okay. Not that I have anything against Canada. I'm like, wait, it was just surprising to me.
To speak a bit to that, the state has approved this ownership structure on partner licenses as well. So we're familiar with the state's expectations, and we assume that without any big surprises that they'll be happy to approve our distribution license in Cotati as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, is that all your questions?
Yes.
Okay, I do have one question, and it's probably for the chief. For obvious reasons, there is not a security plan in here, and I just wanted to be sure that the chief finds everything satisfactory, especially considering some recent events that have happened.
Yes, Mayor. So you point out that the security plan is not in the packet, and that's
Yes.
because it's confidential.
Yes.
So it's not in the packet. So this is an existing business already, and I've approved it in the past. So what's beneficial here is there's already a structure that's been approved in the past for the cannabis business. So alarms and different mechanisms are already in place. And if there's any changes in the future, JP always shares that with me for my review for any future additions or changes in business. So I guess bottom line, Mayor, I'm comfortable with moving forward with this.
Okay, thank you for that. And then my next question is for the applicant. There's a section in here about your personnel policies and procedures. And I just would like to put out there that when hiring individuals, if all qualifications are equal, I would like to see that if it would be possible for you to give a preference to Cotati residents if all is equal.
Absolutely. And we plan to support the businesses here, of course, in addition to that. So absolutely understood.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you for that. So with that, if there are no more questions, then I would be looking to open this up for public comment. And Kevin, could you please handle that for me?
We're going to start on Zoom since the only public is at the podium at this time. So speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, then I would be looking for a motion.
I'll make a motion that the city council and the city of Cotati award a commercial cannabis permit to Barlow Printing LLC, a wholly owned subsidiary of HC Solutions of California LLC, to allow cannabis distribution activities under state license type 2 or 11, distributor at 481 Aaron Street, PA number 22/16.
And do we have a
Second.
second? Great, we have a motion and a second. Kevin, can you please do a roll call vote?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. And so that passes unanimously, and thank you and welcome to Cotati, and we look forward to working with you in the future. Thank you. We will now move on to the next item, which is creation of an in lieu tree fund and in lieu tree planting program. And can we have a staff report?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. This evening, Carla Duncan from the Community Development Department will be presenting this item.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. My name is Carla Duncan, and I'm a permit technician with the City of Cotati. And today I'm going to present a proposal to create an in lieu tree fund and tree planting program for the city. Next slide, please. So currently, most trees are protected under Cotati's Tree Preservation and Protection Program, which is Chapter 17.54 of the Municipal Code. Any tree with a circumference of 12 inches or more cannot be removed without the approval of staff first. Oak trees are even more heavily protected since they're vital native species to California and require city council review to be considered for removal. If staff receives an application to remove a tree that does not hold significant cultural and/or environmental value, and especially if the tree poses a risk to life and safety, a tree removal permit will be issued under the condition that either replacement trees are planted or in lieu fees are paid. Depending on the type and size of tree removed, multiple trees may be required to replace a single tree removed. This is sometimes not feasible for every property, especially on smaller lots. An alternative to remedy this removal is that an applicant pays a fee for each tree removed on their property. These fees are intended to cover the cost of planting and caring for new trees, therefore balancing out the impacts of removal of existing trees within the city. Next slide, please. The Tree Preservation and Protection Ordinance states that these in lieu fees are to be placed into an in lieu tree fund. However, currently Cotati does not have a separate tree fund for this purpose, and these fees currently go into the general fund. Since these fees get placed into the general fund, it's more difficult to efficiently track and allocate these funds toward their intended purpose. While there have been a few public works landscaping projects that have incorporated these funds, a majority of these fees remain unutilized. Additionally, there is no official program in place to use these funds to their maximum potential and therefore diminish the impacts of tree removal in Katahdin. Next slide, please. Staff recommends the creation of an in lieu tree fund to allocate tree removal permit or in lieu fees into a separate fund from the general fund. This new fund will improve tracking capabilities and ensure that these fees collected are utilized for their intended purpose, which is to care and plant for new trees in the city. This will allow Katahdin to apply and maintain the fees as intended by the tree ordinance and is not actually creating a new use for the funds. The attached draft resolution proposes to create this new in lieu tree fund. Next slide, please. As previously mentioned, there are presently few opportunities for these fees to be utilized, and there are funds available to the cost of planting trees in order to alleviate the impacts of removing trees. To address this, staff proposes to create Plant a Tree Katahdin, which is a program that would use these funds to help residents purchase trees on their private property within Katahdin. This program would allow Katahdin residents to purchase up to 2 trees per year, with at least 1 tree required to be a California native, and the other can be an ornamental or fruit tree, ideally one that's better suited to our area's climate. Residents would be required to show proof of purchase and planting of the tree within city limits, and size requirements and price limits would also apply. The Community Development Department would administer the program, and it would be promoted on social media, the city's website, and at events such as the public or the farmers market. Lastly, neither of these recommendations are considered a project under CEQA, and the primary financial consideration would be creation of a new revenue account to place the fees into. With the program, there would be some staff time that would go toward the program's implementation and maintenance. Next slide, please. This concludes the presentation, and we are available for any questions.
Thank you so much for that, Carla. Sylvia, do you have any questions?
I do. Thank you. I want to just say I was admiring the olive trees that were in the PowerPoint. I think it'd be nice to have an area that had a nice set or grove of olive trees here in Katahdin. My question was, the program, I know is intended to buy 2 trees per year. Is any maintenance or other costs also involved for the trees, or just the purchase of the trees?
So no, it would just be for the purchase of the trees.
Okay. Okay. Okay, because yeah, in the language, I think it said to cover the cost, but that's for the city, right? If the city plants trees, then it's for the cost of purchasing, planting, irrigating, and maintaining each tree. I think the initial.
So that's correct. The requirements, or I guess the specific language that directs the fee to be collected does apply it to maintenance. But because this program is intended to operate on private property, it would be the responsibility of the property owner to maintain those trees once the cost of planting is covered by this program.
Okay, thank you.
And I would highlight, this program is conceptual right now, so staff is essentially presenting it to get the fund created. And we thought this would be a way to actually implement the intent of these funds and also benefit residents and property owners in Katahdin. And so it's, as I mentioned, conceptual. We're interested in any feedback or comments the council has as we finalize the program and move towards implementation.
Sylvia, do you have any other questions?
No, that was the question I had. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ben, do you have any questions?
Yes, thanks. I love it. I love the idea of the new program. Have you thought about how it might work with multifamily, condo kind of things where individuals don't own their parcel, it's owned by an HOA or something like that? Anyway, maybe that's more a comment as you develop the concept. I'd like to make sure that the funds are available for use in those settings as well. And that's all, Mayor Harvey.
Thank you. Was there any comment to add to that?
No, they just
No?
nodded.
Okay, they're nodding. I can't see.
We think it's an excellent comment, and we absolutely support that and would look to ensure all property owners, even commercial property owners, would have access to the program.
Oh, perfect. Okay, great. Kay, do you have any questions?
Just yeah, quick clarification. So this is for anywhere on private property, not just like, in the front or where it shows?
Yeah, we feel that it, because the intent is in some ways to offset some of the impacts, including greenhouse gas reduction and carbon sequestration. And sometimes the trees that are being proposed for removal are also in backyards or areas that are not visible to the public. So we feel that it's the benefits outweigh the kind of perceived or the potential for a lack of full public enjoyment of the trees being planted. Because the benefits of obviously carbon sequestration and some of the heat island effects that can be addressed through shade are kind of community-wide.
Okay, no, I mean, I think this is great. It's just been my experience in the past. It was only like ones in the sidewalk, right? So this is great. We don't really have sidewalks everywhere, so that wouldn't really be fair. So this is great. Thank you.
Is that all, Kay?
Yes, that's all. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, my question, thank you, Damian, for getting me an answer. I was in the staff report, it talked about that any previously collected funds would be moved to this new account if we so pass this. And I was curious as to how much was there. And it sounds like there was approximately in the neighborhood of $4,000. So I think that that's a good start for this. I do understand that sometimes when trees have to be removed, they're removed for various reasons, and there's reasons why you wouldn't want to replace them, especially if they're causing problems. You wouldn't want to recreate the same problem. So I think that the concept of allowing trees to be planted by residents, I think is a really novel idea. So hopefully that will serve its purpose. So with that, I will open this up for public comment. Kevin, would you mind facilitating that for me, please?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. We'll go with the Zoom attendees. If you would like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon at this time. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, great. So yeah, I think that this is a great idea, and I would be looking for a motion.
I move that the council of the city of Cotati adopt the resolution directing the creation of an in lieu tree special revenue fund and an in lieu tree program.
Second.
A motion and a second. Kevin, could you please do a roll call vote?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. So that also passes unanimously, and we will move on to the next item, which is our recognition and flag policy. It's coming back again. So Damien, are you going to take this or?
I will, Mayor Harvey. Thank you. So yeah, so it's back, and just as a quick brief on where we were before, on June 27th of this year, even though it said 2022 is 2023, in case anyone noticed that typo, it wasn't really that long ago. It was just like a month ago. So the city council provided initial feedback to staff on potential proclamations and requested certain updates to the draft policy, and that's in the draft policy that's attached. It's the edits, at least as I understood them, are included in red line strikeout to be obvious. And the additions to the proclamation table are bolded, and so there are also the additional proclamations or ideas for proclamations that came up are in that table. So on the policy, I thought probably a good way to handle this, Mayor, would be to just go through the policy, confirm that it meets the council's needs, and then go through the exercise of assigning organizing leads on the table and noting if there's any flags or flag raising ceremonies for any of the listed proclamations. And just one note to the council, there was some comments received by Councilmember Rivers, which you should have. And I think the main effect of that is, well, she has expressed her desire for to be the organizing lead for some of the proclamations, but with respect to the policy in the first whereas, the request was to remove the word potentially from that first whereas in the resolution, and then correcting a typo on packet page 69 of the policy, which reads, all requests, including the proposed text for proclamations, must be directed to the city manager's office for review and placed on the agenda consistent. So it says consist, but consistent is the typo correction with the process in the current city council rules. But with that, I'd be happy to take any questions or additional suggestions.
Okay, Sylvia, questions?
Actually reviewed and agreed with Councilmember Rivers' comments on the policy. So yeah, I don't have questions about it.
Okay, Ben?
No questions.
Okay, Kay?
I agree with my own comments that I made in the email and put those forth. Thank you.
I'm so glad you agree with your own comments. That would be really dreadful if you decided that you didn't. So with that, so since we're going to handle this in two pieces, Damien, do we want to vote on it in two pieces or vote on it all at once, or?
I would suggest two separate motions and votes.
Okay, then I will open this up for public comment. Kevin, can you facilitate that public comment?
Thank you, Mayor Harvey. Speaking to our Zoom attendees, if you'd like to make a public comment, please use the raise hand icon. Mayor Harvey, that'll end public comment.
Okay, so then I'd be looking for a motion on the policy.
I'll make a motion that the city council approve the policy of the city of Cotati adopting recognition and ceremonial flag policy. Are we doing it separate or is it together? the
We'll do them
resolution?
separate and then we'll do the table.
Okay, so a motion that the city council and the city of Cotati adopt the ceremonial flag policy.
Second.
I'm sorry, can we do the amendment of the changes that were suggested?
yes.
Well, so the changes in red line or plus consistent? Or are we asking?
Let
for
me
more than-
start over. So I would like to make a motion to approve the resolution of the city council and city of Cotati adopting the ceremonial flag policy with the changes that were noted on with the changes that were noted in the policy in that first whereas, removing where it says potentially.
And also correcting consistent.
And also the,
Cons-
yes,
yeah.
and also the correct the consistent error as well.
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the policy. Kevin, can you facilitate a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes. So that passes. And then we can move on to, we're going to do this table for just 2023 for right now, right, Damien?
Yeah, so the table is just for right now. Obviously,
Right.
the city council can bring up requested proclamations at any time during the year, but this will just at least establish an initial list of proclamations and any related flags or flag raising ceremonies.
Okay. So we really, since June and July are past, we really, from this table's perspective right now, only need to deal with August, September, October, and November, correct?
That's all we need to deal with. Yeah. The idea would be that we bring this back during the normal council assignment.
Right.
Item in January.
So we would do 2024 in January with all the rest of our assignments.
Yeah, for that, and that would be for the full year, full calendar year.
Right, right. Is everybody okay with that?
Well, can I propose that I know there's nothing on the list for January, but we at least cover January in the previous year, since we will never get to it
Okay,
in time. You know what I mean?
yes,
So each January we consider through the next January.
that makes sense.
Okay.
And I was just going to ask, when in January does that happen? So there's enough time to plan for February?
Usually it's the first meeting.
Okay, so that would give them 2 weeks to
Yeah,
to
2 to 3.
plan for February? Okay.
Does that work for everyone?
Fine with me.
Okay. So we have August Women's Equality Day proclamation, and there is no flag nor flag ceremony. Is that correct?
So in terms of the flags, I can't say that there was exhaustive research done to look for flags, but because when you look, there's actually oftentimes there's multiple choices. And so my thinking there is that if someone wants a flag, then I would work with the organizing lead to select the flag that would be the appropriate flag.
Okay.
I have a question.
Okay.
Does Women's Equality Day proclamation, is that requested by anyone? Because we also see Women's History Month on here. So I don't know if that's something that is regularly requested by a group, or is there a way we can combine it? Or I'm just trying to understand the difference.
Most of the pre-existing, so the non-bolded items were requested. I mean, with the exception of this year, we did Pride and Juneteenth, as you guys know. But aside from those, the other ones that are not bolded were previously requested by a community group. In some cases, they weren't necessarily annually requested, but they're requested in the last couple of years when this table was put together. So I think it's up to the council if they want to take up that proclamation or just wait until we receive a request from someone.
I mean, if there's a specific group requesting a proclamation for themselves for a specific reason, but it seems like if not, it can be rolled into Women's History Month in March.
I guess that seems reasonable. If someone requests that, then we'll do it. And
Mayor
other-
Harvey,
Yeah.
I can provide a little information on this one. Actually, just last week, we did get requested for the Women's Equality Day proclamation by Caitlin Quinn, who describes herself as an advocacy enthusiast on behalf of the Sonoma County Commission on the Status of Women. So that was specifically for the Women's Equality Day proclamation, which I believe is August 26th is the day.
Okay, that's helpful. So is everyone okay with that, since we've had a request for that?
Yes. Thank you.
Can I follow up that discussion a bit
Yes.
with
Yes.
some of the others on the list? I know we're not covered. Oh, sure. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to check. So on the 26th, Caitlin or someone from her organization will come to receive the proclamation, but this is not, it doesn't require an organizational lead because it's not a flag raising, correct?
That's correct. Yeah,
Okay.
it's only required if there's more than just a proclamation. The
Okay.
proclamation we can handle. The mayor and I can
Perfect.
handle.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So, yeah, I agree with that. And some of the others on the list that aren't council initiated, I would like to put in the same category as that Women's Equality Day proclamation and not have them on our list and handle them like we always have proclamations, where if requests come in, then they go to the mayor and the mayor, issues them at a meeting. For instance, one of the ones that I wonder about is National Surveyors Week, which I think surveying is a great profession and there are hundreds of other professions, and I wonder why we put it on our annual list. So I'm happy to, provide it when it's requested, but not put it on the council list of what we're going to do every year automatically.
And that is one that for a very long time has been requested every year.
Right, I understand, but I would just
Think that-
propose, we not listed on our list. We just deal with it like we always have when a request comes in.
So just to clarify, is this meant to just be like, so it was my understanding that this was just a general list of the whole year of all the proclamations we've been asked for in the past that we may or may not be asked for in the future. And then we were, at least I thought we were supposed to kind of go through for the ones that we might want to lead if there is a flag and we want to have a flag raising ceremony. So it might still be useful to have it on here, even if we are not going to, the council ourselves are not going to do anything specifically for it, just to know that it's coming. Was that the intention?
Well, the list originally was developed it was just to give the council an idea of the types of proclamations that had been requested in the past, just so you have, as you think of what you want to bring forward, you have an idea of what else might be happening that same month. So I mean, one approach could be to, as Councilmember Ford suggests, just focus on the ones that the council is bringing forward, and the other ones we could just rely on a third party approaching the mayor or someone to bring a proclamation forward, and not actually list it in a final list of things that we would talk about, like in January, for example.
Like have a separate council list?
Yeah, well, so I think that approach would be that the council selects certain things that they want to see. And that would be, we could narrow this list down in this exercise tonight, but we also could do that in January. And as other groups approach us throughout the year, they could just be added as proclamations are requested.
Right.
Right. Rather than programmed for us to go out and look for someone to come receive it.
Yeah, I agree. And I had a question too, that even if there's not like a lead needed for, say, a flag raising ceremony, I think there should still be leads assigned to some of these so that we can make sure that we work with staff or through the mayor, try to identify community members to come and kind of receive a proclamation so that it's more, I feel, meaningful, for all these different days that we have. Because not all of them may have a flag, but I think it's still good to have community representation here.
I would just say for council requested items, that's probably not unreasonable. Because
I'm sorry?
the ones that come from the community, they already come with someone that wants to receive it.
Mhm.
Whereas something generated from the council may not.
Okay. No, but what I mean is like if the community may not know that, oh, the Katati, we're doing Black History Month, but if one of us was kind of a lead, even though we weren't doing a flag raising ceremony, that we could kind of help staff and kind of identify groups or to come on that day or something. So we would still maybe assign a lead or something for those. That was my thought for that.
So do you all want to assign a lead to all of these? That's the suggestion?
It would not be my suggestion would be that we do more, the kind of split into two lists. One is a list of proclamations that are commonly requested of the city. And somehow it could just be a notation within the same list, like these are commonly requested. And we don't initiate those as a council or city. We wait, and if we get a request, then we tell them, can you have somebody there to receive it? Okay, we'll do it. As long as it's something that is consistent with the city's values. But if there are some on this list that we want to make sure happen, then we indicate that these are council initiated and we assign a lead, I think is what Councilmember Lemus what I understood Councilmember Lemus to be saying. So I would strike a number, I would indicate a number of them are in the commonly requested category, like Women's Equality Day proclamation, Bullying Prevention Month proclamation, Children's Environment. Most of the ones that aren't bolded are historically requested, and we would somehow indicate that in some font that makes it clear we're not initiating those. They're just on here for information.
And all of them are, right? You were saying if it's not boldened, then it's requested from the community? Was that correct?
I mean, ultimately it's requested by a council member through a community request, right? But
But I mean, someone asked for the proclamation from the
Correct.
community. If it's not bold, that came from a community member, not directly from the council. Is that correct?
Yeah, the
Yes,
ones,
or an organization.
Right.
Juneteenth and Pride aren't bolded on here. And my understanding is that was a council
Yeah,
requested.
yeah, don't, so,
You're right.
correct. Yeah, so the bolded ones were the ones we got the last time we met in June.
Mhm.
The bold ones were added. And so the bold ones are the ones the council has requested, plus Juneteenth and Pride Month.
Okay.
Okay.
So those we would add to like the council kind of initiated proclamations and or flag raisings.
Right,
Thank
so, yeah, so one approach would be to, as I'm,
Just go through them.
is just go through the bold ones, which is a much shorter list, and assign organizing leads. And then the others, we can, as has been suggested, notate that they're just commonly requested proclamations, but not, we don't have to figure out what to do about them at this point until they get requested by someone from the community or a council member.
Will that work for everyone if we only assign a lead to the bolded ones, since those are ones we added?
Yes, but can I go ahead and just get added to Pride and Juneteenth since they just happened? And they already have the X's, just not the organizing lead? And then move forward with what has not happened yet? Is that okay?
I guess, yeah. Well, I mean, they've already happened, so yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right, so then Latino Heritage Month.
Yeah, I would like to take that one. And can I also say another one that I want to take and then partner if anyone else wants to partner on it?
All right,
Okay, I want the Native American Heritage Month.
okay,
And then I'm willing to partner with any other council members.
okay. So then Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Do we know what Councilmember Sparks wanted? Since she's not here?
We do not.
One of us must have added this to the list at our last meeting. Anybody
Well,
remember who it
this,
was?
this happened because remember Kay put forth a list. And the only thing that was accepted were the items that were on Kay's list, because there were quite a lot of others, but the council at that day said they were only willing to add to the list the ones that Kay had in her letter. So that's how these got there. So do we have any takers for Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
I don't know, I feel like Disability Employment Awareness Month is more encompassing. Is it? Or is it very different?
Yeah, I think there might be another one, disability awareness. I don't know where the other one is. Is it on here?
It's on there under October.
No, not the employment, the other one. I thought there was just like a disability awareness month, but I don't see it on here right now.
There was a Mental Health Awareness Month, maybe that was when you were thinking. about it.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
so
I would be-
just to get this moving, so we're not here all night for this, I'll take a Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
I'd be happy to take the next two.
Okay. And Ben, so, and then Sylvia got Native American Heritage Month, so we're good for 2023.
One correction on Indigenous Peoples' Day, it should say formerly Columbus Day, not formally.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, formerly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It looks like a spell check thing.
That is definitely a spell check thing. Yes. Thank you. Okay, and just to clarify, so.
So you want me to
I
read
have-
it to you, Damien, and you can check your list?
So actually, Sylvia, if it's okay, I've actually already been in contact with a few Native people about the month. would it be okay to partner with you
Yeah,
on
we
that,
can
just to
partner.
connect
Yeah,
you with
to
the
have
people I've
some-
already spoken with?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then I can like think people I was thinking about reaching out to,
Perfect.
then we can work together.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So if you can please, we'll
right.
co-lead that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna start from the top. Juneteenth, we've got Kay. Latino Heritage Month, we've got Sylvia.
Wait, Pride Month too.
Oh, yeah, right.
Well, that's, okay, it's not on here, but are you gonna put it back in?
No, it is on there. It's probably, it's just above it's on
Juneteenth.
packet page 64. It's just right at the very bottom of the page.
Oh, oh, wait. Oh, this is the thing that got the weird printing
Oh,
problem.
you had,
And
okay.
And I have the packet that probably doesn't have that on there, so that's
Oh,
why.
I see.
So,
Okay.
All
Yeah,
right,
thank you. There's just
got it, thanks,
two.
yeah. I have
Thank
a bad copy.
Okay, thank you.
So we've got Pride Month is K, Juneteenth is K, Latino Heritage is Sylvia, Breast Cancer Awareness Month is Susan, Disability Employment Awareness Month is Ben, Indigenous Peoples' Day is Ben, and Native American Heritage Month is Sylvia and Kay.
Yes.
Perfect. And maybe when Laura comes back, she can partner
Yeah.
with somebody on one of those if she wants.
Yes. And if she wants one of those, then I'm sure that we can negotiate around that.
Yeah.
So Damien, do you have that?
Yes, I do. And let me just add this too. So for Pride and Juneteenth, we have flags and flag raising ceremonies.
Yes.
Yeah.
For the others, we have no flag raising ceremony. We're talking proclamations.
Well, actually, one of the questions that I'm working with LaDonna Feather, Donna Feather, is about the flag for Native American Heritage Month. So she's looking into that for us to see if there is one, because there's many, right? And which one would be appropriate. So she's looking into that. She's at a conference right now, but when she gets back, she's going to get back to me.
And there is a Hispanic Heritage Month. I haven't seen a Latino Heritage Month. And, there's a lot of
Oh.
kind of controversy with Hispanic, Latino, so I'm trying to be correct about it.
But-
So let me ask you this, do we want to put a flag on there? In case there is a flag, so we don't have to come back around, and if there isn't, then it becomes, non-applicable.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. And is that for both the Latino heritage as well as the Native American
Yes.
Yes,
and ceremonies also?
Yes.
Okay,
sure. We can get some great music.
okay, all right. So Damien, did you catch those or do I need to go through that again?
I got it. Thank you.
So, and I just want to remind us that, the policy we just approved says that once a year, we'll go through and we'll
Correct.
hold a vote about which ones are going to have flags. So by January, we have to be ready and know which ones will have flags next year.
Yep.
Correct.
Yeah.
And hopefully, yeah, we'll know by then.
So is now the time to take that vote for these two and affirm that we want to hold flags for them? Or do you want to wait and find out if there really are flags before we hold that vote?
Well, if we have the vote and then there are not flags, we just don't do it, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was going to be my suggestion now is that, given the lack of, we don't know, it'd be better just to, if the council agrees to do it, just do it. And if we can't find a flag or whatever, then we just won't do it.
Does that
But-
work for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so then I would be looking for a motion, given what we just laid out in this table.
I would move that the council agree to display commemorative flags for Latino Heritage Month and Native American Heritage Month in 2023
Second.
and hold
Sorry.
flag raising ceremonies.
And I forgot to wait for you, Sue. I apologize. I'll wait.
No, that's okay. No,
Okay,
that's-
second.
So we have a motion in a second, and we've already taken public comment on this item, just to remind everyone. So with that, Kevin, can you do us the pleasure of a roll call vote?
Councilmember Rivers,
Aye.
Councilmember Lemus,
Yes.
Councilmember Ford,
Yes.
Mayor Harvey.
Yes, yay. So we now have a policy and we have our beginnings of flags and flag ceremonies. So with that, we will move on to city manager's report.
All right, thank you, Mayor, members of the council. So we are, I mentioned this before, but we're getting ready to start the transition away from Nixle for emergency alerting and moving to a new platform called Civic Ready. So it's emergency alerting and community messaging. And we're going to be starting to put out messaging in early August, letting people know about the new platform and hopefully starting to migrate people over. And we're
What was the
looking
name
at
of it? I'm sorry, the name of it again? The name of the new system?
Civic
Missed it.
Ready.
Civic Ready.
And so that's, anyway, that's gonna be going on through the month of August and part of September before we officially transition away from Nixle. So we'll be doing both during that period of time and hopefully getting everyone moved over that still uses it. It's,
Can I, is it going to be in Spanish as well? The new one?
yeah,
Okay, great.
yep.
Thank you.
All right, public works projects. So we have Cotati Park, the park and the park is in the playground areas. The playgrounds were all inspected. They're officially open. So there's people. I was there today and there was a lot of people at the park. It was pretty cool to see. The one thing that's not quite open yet is the restroom. So plan on that if you happen to be there until the restroom opens. So PG&E has to move the meter, the electric meter to the restroom so that we can actually run power to the restroom and actually open the facility. So soon, it should be any day that we get that. But if anyone asks why the restroom's not open, that's why. It doesn't have power yet, but very soon. This road project, Quick Strike, is just about done. Just some remaining striping and lighting and punch list items left on that. The 2023 reconstruction, which is the one along Myrtle and those back areas there, that's again also essentially done except for punch list items. We have, we did open bids on the park and ride replacement project. And so we're still working through that internally on funding that project. And we plan to bring it forward on August 8th. We think we found a path to funding that'll work. And the bid, we got at least a low bid that was much lower than the engineer's estimates. That's the good news, but it's still a little bit more than the price of the property. So that's the funding gap we're working through, but you all will be seeing that soon. And then you approved it tonight, but we're going to be working on finalizing design for the 2024 pavement maintenance project, which is crack sealing and repairs and slurry seals for Gravenstein Way area and also right out here, School Street in this neighborhood behind us. So that's what's coming up this fall. The Redwood Drive and Cypress Avenue pavement reconstruction, that was a grant project or a partially grant project. And that's design is done and we're going to be bidding it this winter and going into construction in the spring. So those are two big roadways that are in poor shape that need to be reconstructed. So it's good to see that moving along. And also some Cypress Sewer Avenue repairs. That's also on the docket ahead of the road paving project. And so you'll be seeing more on that as we get closer to that project starting. On development projects, the hotel, I'm sure as you know, they're busy grading out there. So that's what they've been busy working on. And we expect them to start some initial utility work as soon as next week, potentially, but over the next 2 weeks. And then I do expect improvement plans and the dedications, the property dedications to come to council, hopefully on August 8th. So that's just right around the corner as well. I get this question a lot because people are anxiously waiting for Acre Pizza to open on 116 and they're open in case anyone wants to go out there and check out their pizza. So they're officially open. It just took a long time, but it's just, I don't know, contracting these days, it seems like it. Yeah, hopefully I didn't lose any product in that, but yeah. And then just a reminder that we got a grant for the Santero Way specific plan update. And so we're working on bringing that to council, I think on the 8th as well. So the next meeting will be kind of an important meeting with a lot of really, great things happening. And that grant is from MTC for a little over $400,000 to update the specific plan out at the train station. Next Tuesday, August 1st is our National Night Out Day, and we have a free movie in the park as well as free dinner. It starts at 6 p.m. And we have Cojita Mexican and also a Flagship Tap Room providing the food there. So it should be pretty good. And the movie is DC League of Super Pets that we have on the screen. That's going to be at sunset, so probably about 8:30 p.m. And I encourage you guys to come out if you are interested or tell your friends about it. We're also going to have, in addition to our city staff and police department, we also will have Rancho Adobe Fire there, and the SAFE team will be there too. So it's going to be a fun night for everyone. Last week, we finished our 4th and final farm camp, and each week was huge success. This weekend, we have our North Bay Theatrics Summer Theater in the Park performances of The Greatest Show taking place in La Plaza Park on Saturday, July 29th from 3 to 6. So it's a kids theater, and they're going to be in the park this Saturday. And then we have summer camp still, Camp Cotati Summer Camp through August 10th. And we have full and half day options available. So if anyone's looking for space for something fun for your kids to do, that's still running until school starts. And then this Friday night is our July Kids Night Out event. It's from 5 to 9 p.m. And it is basically date night for adults. If you want to drop your kids off, and they can hang out and have fun with other kids in the camp. Just a reminder, we still are doing the free lunch. We do that every day, Monday through Friday, free lunch in the park. Or actually, I'm sorry, it's at the community center for anyone under ages 18 and under between noon and 12:30. And you don't have to register for a camp there's no sort of pre-registration required. You just show up, and we provide that free lunch while school is out for kids. Farmers Market is still going on in La Plaza Park every Wednesday from 4:30 to 7:30, and that goes through the end of September. And there's lots of great stuff there, so I'd encourage everyone to go if you haven't been. And I talked about Cotati Park earlier, but we're officially announcing we're going to start to get the word out that Wednesday, August 15th from 1 to 3. We're going to celebrate the reopening of the park and the new additions. So that's for everyone. We welcome anyone to attend the reopening of the park on that day. And then lastly, on the park news, this is a lot of park news. We have some changes happening at Putnam and Civic Center Park to the baseball fields. So we've been working with NorCal Oaks on those updates to the baseball fields. And those include new turf, dugouts, bleachers, backstops, and more. We also, at Putnam, we're also working on the field configuration for middle school and JV age, so like freshman, sophomore aged kids. And so the outfield fence is shifting a little bit, and we're getting the information together so that we can put that out so people know what's happening there. But we're also on August 12th at 1 p.m. we're going to have our first park workshop here in City Hall for Putnam and Cater, and that's also something we're going to be putting out this week to the community. And that's going to be the first of 2 meetings, and it'll be available in person or by Zoom. So here in City Hall or by Zoom if someone wants to attend remotely. And we're going to be talking about all the other planned improvements at Putnam and at Cater. We have a second workshop, September 16th, to follow up. So when we talked about the scope of work last time, we talked about the initial. So that initial workshop will be August 12th. It's a Saturday, by the way, in case anyone is interested in coming, 1 p.m. And that's just going to be the 2019 concepts that we'll be talking through and just seeing what people think and what kind of input they have on that. And then the second one will be September 16th, which is also a Saturday. And that will be with some concepts based on the 2019 concept, plus any feedback received both in the workshop on August 12th, but also we also will be having an online like survey and poll going on to collect input that way as well. And with that, I think that's probably enough for tonight, but I'd be happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Anyone have any questions for the city manager?
I have one, Mayor.
Sure.
So on the Nixle switch over, can we like just move our subscriber database over to the new system, or is it going to require an affirmative action on the part of every subscriber?
Unfortunately, the latter.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. And I assume Nixle is not going to be like Twitter and they'll let us post messages on Nixle about how to move to the new service.
Well, actually, we will be posting in Nixle
Okay.
on how to move over.
Good.
Yeah, they don't prohibit us from doing that, but they don't allow us access to the subscriber list.
Okay.
But the new system will be our system that we have access to this subscriber list. So this shouldn't be a problem if we ever were to do this again in the future.
Okay. And then on the parks workshops, those will be run by the consultants?
So yeah, the consultant will lead it, and then we'll have Parks and Rec staff here as well as I plan to attend to.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes, at National Night Out, will there be staff helping people or telling them how to sign up for the new system in English and Spanish?
That's a good idea for the emergency alerting system. Yeah. We didn't have specific plans, but that's a good idea. And so I'll talk to staff about it.
I have a quick one. First, I want to say thank you for our new business cards and name tags. And then just follow up and ask for a timeline on this giant one behind us and the signs like coming into town. Do we have a time frame for those?
So this sign, the directional signage in the corridors here at City Hall, as well as the marquee downtown, there's a logo on that marquee. Those
And
are
there's
all in.
Like one on West Sierra too, right? When you first come off the freeway. There's a big one there too.
A wooden sculpture looking thing?
Yeah.
The wooden
yeah, we're-
sculpture, I think, is different. Yeah.
Well, I know that these three so this one in the corridor and the marquee are in fabrication right now, so they should
Okay.
be soon. We
Okay.
expect that this will be, don't hold me to it, but this should be changed out before the meeting on the 8th.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then we're also working on all the entry signs, the post mounted signs.
Okay. Like the one on West Sierra, for
yeah,
example. Okay.
I'll have to go look at that one specifically to refresh my memory as to what it is, but all the post mounted signs are in, they're working on updating those to the wayfinding sign type, but with the new logos.
Okay. Yeah, no, the one on West Sierra is just a big picture of him.
Yeah.
Big sign, right
Right,
when you come
yeah.
off the freeway.
Yeah.
There will inevitably,
Damien, it's right by the bus stop is what she's talking about. There is a very different sign there.
yeah. Yeah, I'll have to look at, I mean, I know what you're talking about for sure. I'll have to look
Okay.
at it.
Thank
But,
you.
Yeah, we still daily find
More.
more around. It's gonna take a while to kind of
Yeah.
flush it all out. but-
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, then
Mayor, actually,
Yes.
sorry to interrupt. The chief had one more thing to add on the emergency alerting.
Yeah, for Civic Ready, engaging the public and having them sign up's a good idea. So a thought would be every year for the high-low drill, like the police department, we have a booth at the farmer's market to talk about the high-low drill. And that sounds like a good opportunity to share the new Civic Ready platform. So I can add that to the presentation booth when we do the high-low drill. So it's
Yes.
good thought.
Yeah, so yeah, I think anything where we have staff out there doing something, especially if we want to get as many people to sign up for it. Yeah.
And like Spanish speaking people to talk about it as well. Yeah.
okay, so are we ready to move on? Okay.
Yeah, that was it, Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, no worries. It's hard to see because you're very small. So city council member reports. Sylvia, do you have anything?
Yes, I'll go over my report. So July 2nd, I did a ride along with the Cotati Police Department. So that was really a great experience. I went July 2nd, so it was a Sunday before 4th of July. So it was kind of a loud night. There was fireworks going off in different neighborhoods that we went to go check out. So Sergeant Guyer arranged for me to, I did almost a full shift. I was out there 6 hours, half of the time with Officer Renke, and then half of the time with Officer Sullivan. So I got to ride in a vehicle. I saw the ALDA reader and how it works and what it does and some of the different systems they have in the vehicles. We stopped on certain areas where people don't stop, and maybe they do a rolling stop, or some don't just plain don't even stop, just go right through the stoplight, the stop sign. So it was a really interesting, eye-opening, all the different calls they go on and get calls on. So that was July 2nd. July 6th, I was an alternate, but I got to step into the Sonoma Clean Power Board of Director meeting. They had a closed session. July 8th, Cotati Kids Day, had a great time with Councilmember Rivers and Councilmember Ford and Vice Mayor Sparks and city staff, including city manager. We threw candy out to the kids on July 8th. The 24th, yesterday, actually, I went to a meeting with the residents of Cotati Villages. And just a little I wanted to just mention that August 3rd, KBF, which is the first bilingual radio station here in the nation, is celebrating. They're having a gala event on August 3rd. And I'm just really proud of their 50th anniversary. I was involved with them early on, so was many of my family members. So I'm really proud of the radio station. So that's all I have for today.
Great, thank you so much. Ben?
Yes, I also had a great time at the Kids Day Parade. I got to ride it in a fancy hot rod because I couldn't walk, but I didn't pace myself on the candy distribution. I ran out before I got to the hub, so that was bad.
You still need training in that, Ben.
I know. But it was a great crowd at the hub, at the La Plaza Park. It was really fun. So that was great. Sonoma Clean Power Board meeting, kind of the big item for me is state pressures on community choice aggregation programs. The governor has been making some moves that would essentially kill them off, and they've successfully sort of pushed back against them so far, but it's a continuing threat because the governor, because there are problems statewide with adequate resources, and the governor sees sort of statewide procurement of electricity as the answer. And so that's squeezing smaller procurers like Sonoma Clean Power. So far, we're okay, but it's a worrying trend. The SCTA, RTPA board meeting, the big news was the reports from the consultants on polling on a climate crisis sales tax or climate crisis revenue proposal. They did a lot of polling, and basically the support is not there for either a sales tax or a parcel tax measure to get over the 2/3 requirement that they both poll barely over 50%. So the board has backed off pursuing that for right now and is trying to figure out how we're going to get to our climate goals. So back to the drawing board on that. That's it.
Thank you. And thank you, Ben, for attending SCTA or CPA for me. Really appreciate that. Okay.
Yeah, so unfortunately, my two great meetings that I could finally go to because school is out were canceled this month. But I did go to Farmster, and I just wanted to make sure people were aware the first Sundays between 10 and 12, they have training for volunteers. So if you want to go, and they give you a tour and they show you all the cool stuff they have there. And that was really cool. So I would encourage people to check that out. And just I don't know how much of a city council, I mean, it's because I'm on the city council, they came to me, but we have a potential land situation for library. So that's pretty exciting, super early, and we're just working on making that happen. But there is a potential now, which is super exciting. And then the last thing I just want to make sure to say is Coffee with Kay will not be happening tomorrow. I have a conflict that I can't move. So Coffee with Kay for the first time since before I sat in the seat will be canceled just for this month, but we'll pick it right back up again next month, the fourth Wednesday of the month, 6 to 8 p.m. at Redwood Cafe. Come join me for potato skins. They're really delicious there. That's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. I attended the Marin Sonoma Mosquito Vector Control District meeting on July 12th. There was nothing earth-shattering to report out of that. And kind of like Kay, I think July is just the month that a lot of meetings get canceled. So the Waste Management Agency meeting was canceled and the LAFCO meeting was canceled. I think a lot of boards take that month off. So everything will be back in swing come next month. So that is all I have to report tonight. And we can move on to public comments on non-action agenda items. Kevin?
Mayor Harvey, we have lost all of our attendees on Zoom and in the chamber. So that will end public comment.
Thank you so much for that. And then do we have any information received after the agenda was posted?
There was the attachment to item 11A that was rendering oddly on the PDF. So that was provided, as well as the comments from Councilmember Rivers, both provided to the council and here in the chamber.
Great, thank you for that. And so with that, I will adjourn this meeting you guys are in a different time zone. So I believe it's something like 7:39 there. We will call our meeting adjourned. Thank you, and we'll see you guys in a couple weeks.
Thank you. Thanks,
Thank
Mayor.
you.
Bye-bye.